I'm excited about this next guest coming on. This is my boy. This is my brother from another motherfucker that you'll see. We've been knowing each other for like 10, 15 years. We kind of, is that about?
Close to 16.
Closer to 16? Yeah, we've been in this game for a while, huh? Yo, he's one of the funniest comedians in this business. He has a comedy workshop that he teaches. If you want to ever be a comic, getting this with us, go see him. He will definitely, I'll let him tell you the name of it. It's called the Comedy Workshop, right? The Comedy Institute. The Comedy Institute. He's going to tell you more about it. My good friend, Greg Wilson, y'all. Make some noise. We're back. We are back, baby. What's good?
We're people, and we're touching.
Yeah.
We're breathing at each other. I tell you, it's a new day. Thank you, Lord, for the new day.
Oh, you didn't know he's going to be crazy.
They said we was in the desert, Lord. For 12 long months, Lord. Wandering around. And we were literally just wandering around neighborhoods like, I guess I'll walk around.
Man, listen, I kind of want to go back to the way it was. I only want to move around to go do comedy, but I wish everybody else would stay home because the traffic in LA is... Dude, how long did it take you? You said you was going to take you like
46 minutes. I thought it was going to take like 20 minutes. And I was like, let me just check it. Let me just to make sure I had the right starting point. And I'm like making a snack. I'm like, I'm not dressed. I'm like, I look like shit. And I'm like, and to the point where I was like, 46 minutes. And I had to tell my wife, I'm like, can you make me this snack while I take a shower? Like, she had to come in and pitch hit. She was very helpful.
It took me 46 minutes to go 14 miles.
14 miles.
Yeah, no, and that's how I knew the pandemic was ending, was the second traffic was back. I'm like, oh, I guess this shit's over. Because you have to admit, that was, for Angelinos, that was the silver lining.
Right.
The silver lining was
you could get places. Anywhere.
In 20 minutes.
Right.
Anywhere. You get all the way to Woodland Hills.
Yeah, listen.
I mean, it wasn't good for my job.
It wasn't good for your job? Oh, yeah, because you did the traffic in the morning.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you at the beginning?
Wait. What's the traffic light? So here's your traffic update. There's a Honda
No.
on Wilshire. We don't know why he's out right now. We all know you're supposed to be home.
No bullshit. In the first month during the lockdown when nobody was supposed to be driving around, so I'm going to give you a little back seat look at my job. When I do traffic reports, I start with the big stuff, 405, 101, 10, big shit.
The big stuff, yeah.
And I don't even look at Cabazon. That place doesn't exist unless Coachella's going on.
Right.
First month of the lockdown, I literally started with a report with, and I am not bullshitting you, there's a 6-foot tumbleweed blowing across the 10.
Wait, serious?
That was the only thing going on.
Oh, wow.
Like, nobody was driving.
Nobody was doing
But
anything.
that was a beautiful thing. Like, you would get out on the road, and like, I started riding my bicycle again. Like, I bought this nice bike, and then I tried riding it, and I was like, fuck this!
Exactly.
Totally, I'm like, these motherfuckers are trying to kill me!
Do you know the craziest thing, though, is people around the country really don't understand, because we travel a lot.
Yeah.
So when people don't understand, like, they get to drive in these nice, they just drive and it's cool.
Absolutely.
I get back to L.A., I'm angry immediately.
Oh, absolutely.
Immediately, like, just fuck traffic.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Oh, I just came back from Dallas, and their idea of traffic is just there's a lot of cars in these lanes right now. Like, there's so many cars. But there's no, like, you know, unless there's an accident, it's still, it's not like here, where you're just like, why are we not moving? The greatest test of any man's patience, you really want to test somebody, because when you're stuck, right? And you can see the exit. You're a quarter mile.
Right.
And then you are locked in there, and you have to just deal with this. And there's nothing you can do.
Right.
So that's back now. It's back. And that is not, I mean, there's nobody that's in it like, oh, this feels great.
Yeah.
Like,
Here's the thing:
It's
I
miserable.
have a nice car, but I will wreck this motherfucker to try to get somewhere on time.
Oh, I take so many risks.
I be going so many risks. Like
Yes.
I don't care now. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
It was good for when I bought this shit when it was pandemic. I was driving. I'm driving fucking regular. I'm like,
Dude, it was
now my fucking luxury car. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, if you hit me, I'm there just going through. That's how we do all the time.
The
But it's
pandemic.
good
Happier times.
Happier time, but it's good to see you, bro.
It's good to see you
I
too,
miss
brother.
man.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, how's
You
up?
even messaged me. You were like, "So are you doing in person?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Double vaxxed, man."
You got vaccinated?
Dude, I'm licking toilets. I'm fucking. I'm back, baby. I tell you, it's like, to me, it's in my mind. That's the thing. Like, I don't see it as they cured COVID. I see it as they cured AIDS, herpes, and cancer.
Right.
All the same, and fucking all bets are off.
Oh,
I did everything right for a year. I went nowhere. I touched nothing.
Right.
We live in an apartment. I would wipe down the handles on the doors because I didn't know if these other dirty motherfuckers were doing it. So
Right.
I went out there at least twice a week and would wipe down all the handles on all the doors.
Wow.
Like I was a vigilant motherfucker. Then and I'm like, cocaine is back. Fucking-
You know what the funny thing is, though? I knew once the Democrats got into office that this would be no more of a thing. I mean, it's now like, they're like, oh, you got vaccinated? You can take your mask off. You can go. People are going to be walking around like, I got a mask on, don't say shit to me. I mean, I got a vaccine card, don't say shit to me.
Well, that's why I made the shirt, Kiss Me, I'm Vaccinated.
Right.
Because it's a nice way to tell people, fuck off.
Right.
I'm vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated.
Don't give me the look like.
Right.
And it's so funny because I switched sides so fast. Because I went from the side of looking at people like, put on your fucking mask, to, I'm fucking vaccinated, okay? I'm done with the fucking mask. And I talk about the act, I'm like, because that was the stupid thing about the whole mask debate. Nobody liked wearing the mask.
At all.
Nobody was like, oh,
People whose
why weren't
breath
we
stank.
doing this sooner?
You said what?
People whose breath stank.
Yeah, they do.
No, they hated it the most.
Wow, that's
Because
true.
they didn't know how bad their breath stank.
Yeah, that's my joke I have. You
Yeah.
didn't realize that you standing next to somebody and fucking you smell that breath, you get angry, and then you realize it's you. You're like, oh shit, that was
Right.
me, motherfucker. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, for me, it was, I've never burped in my own face.
Right.
So many, I ate a burrito and then went to Ralph's and spent like 48 minutes just fucking melting my face.
I think the worst thing I did was I sneezed in my mask, and the backfire from that shit, I was so
like-
so angry.
It's almost like a slingshot. So it was the worst. Nobody liked the mask. You did
Nobody
it because it
liked
was
the
what we had
mask.
to do. We did it out of concern for ourselves and others.
Right.
But now it's like,
That's why.
fuck your mask.
Yeah, that's why you. That's why you
Read
did
the
it.
shirt, motherfucker.
That's why you did it.
I literally stopped doing coke for because there couldn't be a dumber way to get COVID than to actively snort it into your face.
Right. Okay.
So I'm like, I even was Google searching like, can a virus live in powder? Can a virus survive? And like, I'm so stupid. I would get the bag and I would like wipe the bag.
No.
But then you're at home. I'm at home. My sweet wife, who doesn't do anything. She's the best person I've ever known.
Yeah.
She's just, I'm gonna go to sleep. It's like 9:30, and I'm like, okay, babe. And then I'm just like up, just me, just in my house, just like,
Can't go nowhere.
and I did that like 3 times. I'm like, okay, this is fucking stupid. What
This
the
is
fuck?
stupid. No more. No more.
There's no point. There's no point to this.
So you were wiping the bag, even though because you didn't know where your drug dealer had got his.
Totally, like, how many people touched this fucking little thing before I got it? It was so stupid.
You know what the stupid thing is? This is what I happened to be recently. This is so funny. It happened to be recently. I went to the studio. My boy is making an album. Went to the studio. It was like, 30 people. It was a rap album.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like 30 dudes. And 15 white girls, because black dudes don't fuck with. It'd be all fat white girls in the studio. Go ahead. I know you was gonna say something.
No, I'm gonna let it go. I know you love your white girls like he loves his coke, so I'm gonna let it go.
There you go.
That's a lot of love.
That's a lot of love. And what I had never even realized until this whole COVID thing, they be they making the blunts. And they just
And then
licking it and passing that shit. And it passed me. I was like, no. I'm good.
Yeah, no, say exactly. If I was smoking a joint, I'd be like, I'd love to, but COVID. So I don't. You don't want to. But you know what's weird is
COVID.
like it's COVID. I would share, but
Greg, can I have that joke? I'm gonna take that away. You know the rule about comedy, right? Is if someone says something funny, right?
Yeah.
And whoever's the first person to go on stage and says it, that's theirs. I'm gonna go ahead and go on stage tonight and say that.
COVID. I would share, but COVID. Totally. And here's the thing: joints lasted so much longer.
They do.
Like a joint would last 3, 4, 5 highs.
Yeah.
Because it was just me. Oh my God, I'm so high already. I'm just gonna put the rest of this away. So I hope you guys.
It's so fucking funny.
It's true though. We all did it.
It's true because we just. I'm not going after no, and I don't understand how they do that. It's just so many people. I know it's hot, but here's the thing.
Lord.
Listen, here's the thing. It won't show up on camera.
Okay.
So you can sweat as much as you want.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that that's true, but okay.
I swear to you.
Okay.
I promise you. It will not show up on camera. I promise. All right. So tell me about your TV show you've been on, the Neighborhood.
The Neighborhood. That's a great little role that they made. They brought me back recently, kind of made me recurring, and it's one of those things that. So it's with Cedric the Entertainer,
right?
And the last episode I did was also with George Lopez.
I saw
which
that.
George and I. This is the thing. George and I had a little run-in, like back in the early 2000s.
Really?
And all I kept thinking was, I wonder if he's going to recognize me.
You got to run in like what? Can you tell us?
I don't really want to tell this.
Yes, you do.
Wait, were you stealing jokes and did he have to pin you up against the wall at a comedy club?
Thank God, no, not.
What happened?
No,
You know.
What?
Did he accuse you of that?
No.
But he's done that to other people.
He did that to Carlos.
Oh, that's right.
Carlos
That's
Mencia.
right.
Oh,
That's
okay,
right.
all right.
Yeah.
This person this motherfucker right here can never steal a joke. His mind just goes so fucking. It's like,
And yet I've been accused of it just like everybody else.
really?
Oh yeah, you know the AGT experience. Where like I got this amazing performance on America's Got Talent, and the fucking warm-up guy is like, "That's my joke. You stole my joke."
And you're like, I've never seen you before.
Totally. I was like, I don't know who the fuck you are. I've never.
Who the fuck are you?
You're a warm-up guy. Are you even a comedian?
right? Like,
What are you talking about? I'm a fucking. I've been doing this. I've done that. I love it. He kept going. That's been my closer for like 18 years. I'm like, that says a lot about you.
That says a lot about
And
you.
not about me. 'Cause,
Exactly.
like, if you're doing the same closer, no wonder you're doing warm-up. Okay?
Right.
This is like a middling joke for me. This is my TV joke. Like, this is not my closer, I assure you.
All right, George Lopez. I'm not
So
gonna let
Lopez-
you get okay.
So Lopez, which by the way, I wound up taking a polygraph test to prove I'd never seen that guy on AGT. That's how.
But listen, I already know that. Like when I heard about it, I was like, "Great, there's no way."
Wait, I didn't hear about this.
What's that?
I didn't hear about this.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
It was actually at the time it was a pretty big deal in the comedy community. It spread like wildfire.
What year was this?
But a lot of people did defend me because I couldn't speak out because you signed the fucking thing. They're like, well, technically you're still on the show, so you can't say anything. So luckily, a lot of people like Greg would never. Greg has no need to ever steal a joke. He's got hours and hours of material. Everybody's seen it. It's totally fine. So the George Lopez thing. I had just moved to New York. He was coming to Dallas. They were like, hey, who's the best local comic? They're like, he actually just moved to New York. So they were like, do you want to, are you going to be back in Dallas? Because you could do this. You can open for George at the Majestic Theater. And I was like, I will be back in Dallas to do this show.
Right.
Come back to Dallas to do the show. And they're like, but we need you to be clean. And as you know, for the majority of my career, I was filthy rotten.
Right.
But I had started working a little bit on a clean set at that point. Not really. I had some ideas. And so, but for this, I was like, okay, I'm going to put together, it was only like 5-7 minutes or something. So I was like, I'm going to put together this clean set. I'll clean up. I had this pharmaceutical drug names routine that I was doing. I was like, I can do that clean. This will be great. So I put this set together and we go to the thing and I see George's manager. I'm like, hey, listen, can I run the set by you just to make sure it's clean enough? And he goes, run it by his other opener, the guy featuring Steve Trevino. And he goes, he's worked with George a lot. He can tell you if it's okay.
And of course, you know Steve.
And, no, at this point, I did know Steve. I did know Steve from being in Dallas.
Right.
We were both, so I knew Steve. So I go to Steve and I go, hey, let me do this thing for you. I want to make sure it's clean enough, because the manager was saying be clean. And Steve's like, man, fuck that shit. I'm like, what? He goes, George doesn't care. Just be funny, man. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, and I go, because I have this Schwarzenegger blowjob bit that I really like doing. He goes, fuck yeah, do whatever, just be funny.
I don't feel good about
I
this.
don't feel good about it either.
Thank you.
I don't feel good about it.
You're not wrong. What you're thinking happened is what happened.
So you're in the future, too.
You're in the future. Yeah, go ahead.
So I go out there and I do this.
Fuck motherfucker.
Yeah. You know, don't shoot. Okay. This whole big cocksucking Schwarzenegger thing. Which, granted, whatever. But it's a crowd pleaser. People love.
Yeah, I know they're going crazy.
They're going crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I just ripped it. I came back, Majestic Theater, crushing these motherfuckers. Okay? And I walk off stage, and there's George's manager, and he is losing his mind. The fuck was that shit? We told you to be clean. What are you doing? George wants you thrown the fuck out of here. I talked about it, but he came in. He's like, "What the fuck is it?" I'm like, "But you told me to run it by the other guy. The other guy told me I could do the thing. That's right." And he's like, "No, you were not supposed to. You were supposed to do it clean." Blah. He's fucking losing his fucking mind with me. So then I go down there. And now Steve's on. He does whatever, and then George goes up and he crushes. Now we're backstage afterwards. And I mean, I'm like everyone's like just ignoring me, like I'm a pariah.
Right.
And they're like, what the fuck was that? And I'm looking at Steve like, Steve, are you going to fucking tell him that you told me I could do this? And Steve just fucking shrunk away, left me to fucking drown. I just, are you sure, Steve? You don't want to throw me out? You don't want to throw me out of the thing? And Steve's like, That motherfucker double-crossed me.
He double-crossed you. Did you say something?
Yes, I had told him originally. I was like, but you told me to run it by Steve, and Steve said I could do that. He's like, right. So, and then we were in front of George. Steve just acted like he didn't know me, had no idea what I was talking about. I don't, just hung me out to dry. So then later I see George, and George is like, fuck that shit, man. That shit was funny. Right. And I'm like, so is that you saying that? And I don't understand what's happening here.
Right.
Because your manager said you want to be thrown the fuck out of the room.
Right.
So that was that experience.
Right. But you know what? I realized how slow I am because at the beginning when you said they wanted you to be clean, I was like, how the fuck did they know about the coke?
I want you to test clean. You got to test clean if you want to ride with George. Which I don't think that. I think that would have been like, did you bring it in for George?
Exactly. That's fucking hilarious.
So now I get cast in the thing like, oh, you're gonna love it because George, you're gonna be, with George, and I'm like, does he remember what happened?
Yeah.
And then what am I gonna say? Like remember that? Okay. So I see George. I was just another human to him. He had no recollection
at all
of that time, of me, of anything. He just was like, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm George Lopez. I'm going, And I was like, "Great, good to meet you too."
I'm glad we've never met before ever.
Yeah, exactly. Nice to meet you for the first time in our entire lives.
That happened with me. I got to work with him again, so I'm not going to say the name because I'm going to work with him pretty soon. But that's what happened with me. It was like,
D-Ray?
Huh? You said what?
Doing a D-Ray?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing a D-Ray. What? Tell me.
Remember the D-Ray? We always have a D-Ray story.
Oh, yeah, but it's not D-Ray.
Right, yeah,
okay, now I remember. I'm sorry. I was into my story on what's happening. Huh? My bad. Yes, the D-Ray. I'm supposed to work with this guy again soon.
And it's not D-Ray.
It's not D-Ray.
Right.
It's not D-Ray.
It's Re-Dray.
Re-Dray. No, I've never worked with D-Ray. But I am going to,
but you would if he asked you to.
Of course.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because it sounded like you were like, I would never work with you. No. I want to make clear you're saying you haven't.
I haven't
yet.
Yes.
But if the opportunity, okay, right.
But I don't necessarily. Well, that's another conversation for another day.
So back to this story.
What happened was I worked with this guy, and he was telling me about. They kept telling me about the time. I was going too much time.
Yeah.
But the club booked me. I didn't like they booked me now.
Right.
So they booked me for a certain amount of time.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do.
Right. They gave you a 20-minute window, and now they're like, dude, what are you doing?
So they're like, they want me damn near to bring this dude up. I'm like, well, why am I even here? Just do a one-man show. Like, cause there's only 2 people, right? So then he's like, I go and then I do this bit where I'm telling everybody about to, clap and do your tip your waitresses and everything else. And I go in the back and he goes, look at this motherfucker. We told him this time, you up now. He stretching it by telling them the audience to do this and do this. I go, no. Your manager said to do that. And he's like, did he? And I looked at it. Didn't you? And he was like, yeah, that's right. He was like, yeah. He was like, don't listen to these motherfuckers. They only come from me. I was like, hey, I don't give a fuck what. I don't have to say shit. I could just walk up here and go, hey, you come.
I get paid the same amount.
Paid the same amount of money,
regardless of how much time I do.
I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
But so it's your show. I'm trying to help you out. But, it's whatever. I'm working with him again, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to start my first day. It's going to be 30 minutes, and then he's going to dwindle me down all the way to 5.
There you go.
And I don't give 2 shits.
know who it is.
You know who it is now.
Yeah. At least you know it's coming.
Because I told you about
I know who
it.
it is.
Exactly. So I know it's coming. I don't give a fuck. He ain't never doing this show. Eddie Griffin. I'm doing Eddie Griffin. I don't give 2 shit.
And Eddie would, even if he saw the shit right before the show, he would forget.
Exactly.
By the time you come in the room, he'd be like, oh, what up, dog?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eddie Griffin does not like anybody to do any fucking time before him. And it's like, yo.
Hey, you getting paid the same?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. That's why I said I don't give a fuck. But it was literally 30 minutes, second show, 20 minutes, next time. 15, next time 5. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, because he likes to go long. He likes to go crazy long.
And he does. I don't know if he necessarily likes people being funny in front of him.
Yeah.
So
it should just be a one-man show.
It should just be a one-man show. Because
Yeah.
I hit his manager. I was like, yo, right now, I'm out with Dion. I'm just hopping on different things. The club booked me. Is it cool if I, do some dates with him? The manager hit me back. Was like, yeah, no.
That's crazy because my homegirl told me he doesn't like to go long. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, I didn't see it. You're insulting me. She looks at me like, I'm kidding. You said it about me. I'd just be like, man, it's true.
Okay, so neighborhood, you met George Lopez.
So he comes on, doesn't recognize me at all, and I'm like, fantastic.
Right.
And my wife's even like, it was like, so did you? I'm like, fuck no. It was like we got to complete reset, and we got along the whole week, and he was great to me, and we had a great time. We were like this little duo through the whole episode. And so, every time I do an episode, this is my second episode with them, and every time I do an episode, they're like, oh, we're going to have you back. Norm, my character's name, of course.
Right.
But they're like, oh, Norm's coming back. We love Norm.
Right.
So they've brought me back once, and so, it's for a second episode, so hopefully, they always say they'll bring me back for more, and hopefully they do. So that's
right.
one show. And then the other one was Upload on Amazon, which was great because that came out during the pandemic and everybody was watching anything new.
Anything.
So everybody saw it like, oh my God, you guys fucking Upload. And I'm like, yeah, now that one also is supposed to be recurring. This was the worst.
Okay.
Because they're shooting the show and they're like, oh my God, we got to, we want Greg to come up. We got him written into this next episode. We need Greg to come up here to Canada to shoot the show, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, great. And then they're like, okay, you know what? We need him here actually the previous Friday if he could come up to do the table read. And they're like, well, he's on hold. He's supposed to be shooting for this pilot. And they have that whole week blocked out. Now, it could be that he's free to leave after Wednesday, but they've got the whole week.
Right.
And they were like, okay, you know what? That should be fine. And then they called my agent back and were like, we wrote him out of the episode.
Are you serious?
They were like, just tell him not to come.
Oh, that's fucked up.
And then they never called me again to come back for the rest of the series.
Oh.
Well, for the rest of that season.
Okay,
Who
so
knows
let me
what
ask you
happens
this
with season
question.
two. But I think I'm out.
All right, let me ask you this question. Were you and the agent playing hardball when y'all said
No,
y'all
I
wanted
was
money?
booked. No. I was booked that week to do this other pilot for Nickelodeon.
Right.
And they had me through Friday. Technically, we were supposed to shoot through Wednesday, but they had the whole week booked, and they could have kept me through that Friday. And so there was nothing. And then they ended up moving that after they canceled me on that, they ended up moving the Nickelodeon shoot.
Could your agent call you back like, no, we can come?
Totally, yeah. Oh. And they were like, oh, no, we wrote him out. It's fine. We can work without him. So that was that. Yeah, that one's a heartbreaker.
It's okay. Once you become a big star, it's not, they can't write you out of shit.
Your lips to God's ears.
I'm just saying, that's what it is.
You too, brother. You too.
Yeah, it's all good.
Exactly. We're ballers, man. We're crushers on stage.
It is.
Exactly. The time is there. The time will come.
Okay, so you know the name of this show?
Yes.
It's called Funny Stories with Ocean.
That's right.
All right. What we do is we have our guests come on. They tell a funny story. It could be about anything you like, and then it could be, but it's new to our audience. So you come on and tell us funny stories with Greg. It's on you.
Well, today I would like to tell you about someone that really was a mythological character in my life, and his name was Steve Slonita.
Okay.
And, I speak about him now. We lost him too soon, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to share some Steve stories, because that's why I'm wearing the Dallas hat, because this is from my days in Dallas. And Steve was like the big brother that I always wanted. Like, I've got 2 older brothers, but they weren't like Steve. Steve was the best. Just to give you an idea of who Steve was, on New Year's Day, me and this guy, we were in this very popular improv troupe called Ad Libs, and we got, we were like the second city of Dallas, and so, we hooked up with chicks all the time. We did shows everywhere. We did colleges, corporate. We had our own theater. We sold out 4 shows a week. Like, it was an amazing time, and so we hooked up with these chicks on New Year's Eve. We gone back to one of their houses, and they were like, you got to drive us back to the club. We got to fucking back. But it had been an ice storm and iced up, and we got into an accident on the road, on the highway, like in a pileup on the highway, and we had to jump out of the car and run across the highway, get the fuck out. And we were like, who can we call to come get us? We're like, Steve.
Steve, right?
And we called Steve, and he answers the phone like he's just waiting for a call. Like, hey guys, what's up? It's like 5:30 in the morning. Like, hey guys, what's up? We're like, dude, we fucking crashed the car. We're on the side of the road, waiting outside of this closed restaurant. He goes, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And and he, pulling up his trans and his GTO, fucking, damn it. Hey guys, what's up? Let me buy you breakfast. And he bought us breakfast. So that's who Steve was.
Okay.
So Steve was. He was, one of those great, incredible partiers. And like, Steve was the first guy the first hooker I ever got was with Steve.
Oh, wow.
Like, Steve, like, we were out partying, and he's like, hey, you want to fuck hooker? And I'm like, no. What are you even talking about, Steve? He's like, let me just show you a place. I just want to take you to a place. And we go to this place. This is the preamble story to the real story.
Yeah.
But we go to this place, and of course we go in there, and they're like, oh, hello, Mr. Steve. So, okay, remember Rush Hour 2?
Yes.
When they're at the spa,
right,
and they have all the ladies, and he's like, oh, I want you.
Right.
And you. Okay. This happened. Like, they brought out all these ladies. And he's like, just wait. And then they bring out all these ladies, He's like, just pick whichever one you want. I was like, oh, shit. She's got the...
I'll take these 3.
Exactly. So I picked one, and so that was who Steve was.
Where's this place? Do you remember?
Okay. I do.
Okay.
It was like a rundown, like, transformed house that, like, was behind this large building industrial complex that just this one house was still left behind that they would, was kind of back there hidden.
Oh, wow.
Off 35, off I-35, the North Route in Dallas, I-35 East. And it's funny because anytime I would drive up 35, I'd look at that building and be like, there's some shit going on down in that building, man. There's some nasty shit going on. So to tell the story.
Okay.
Steve, I wake up. We had been out partying all night on Saturday. Steve knew I was too drunk to drive. Wouldn't let me drive. He's like, you're sleeping on the couch.
Right.
I'm like, great. I crash on the couch. And I wake up to the sound of... And I open my eyes, and he's got a fucking joint hanging from his lips. He's like, what do you want to do today? I don't know. So we get high. He makes breakfast. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. Go to a strip club. He goes, let's go.
Right.
Of course, Sunday afternoon, best crew on Sunday afternoon. We go to this seedy little joint that he knew about. It was not one of the classier places. And we go in there, And we sit down, and again, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Steve," like everybody. Dude, this guy. Just sidebar really quickly. He had to go to South America all the time for family business, for his family's business, and he would call in the middle of the night from random women's apartments. Like he would wait to make international calls. He would hook up with women and then call from their apartments.
Wow.
He would like get out of bed, so the phone would ring, and he goes, "Hey, Greg, what's up? It's Steve, man." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm Nicaragua, bro. I just wanted to call you. We're having the greatest time." And then I heard a woman go, Steve? Steve? And he goes, "Oh, shit, man, I gotta go." And this happened all the time.
Steve? The international calls using their phones?
Yes.
That is big dick energy.
Totally. He had, I mean, big Polish dude. He was known for it. So we go to this strip club. And we sit down, and he's like, "All right, 2 shots of Crown each and 2 beers back." And I'm like, "Okay, we're getting out of the gate fast." Okay. And he's just wha-bam, blah, 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 drinking those fucking things. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep up. And like, he would finish 2 and just order another round of 4. And it's Sunday afternoon. The busboy wasn't in. So they didn't bother with a buster for the Sunday noon shift.
Right.
So after a while, our table is a forest of bottles and empty shot glasses.
Right.
And he's just, we're just pounding them, and we are getting fucking lit. And the girls we're the only ones, and he's throwing money on the thing. Okay. And then, so at a certain point, we've been there, the table's littered with all this, and he's looking at me like you're looking like this right here.
Yeah.
And this is the table, right? And he's like, "So, Greg, after this, why don't we...
Oh my God.
And just starts laser vomiting onto the floor.
Oh.
But he never broke eye contact.
Oh.
And then when he finished, started finishing his statement, he's like, I'm like, what are we doing next? We're fucking getting you medical attention, I think. And I'll never forget, he starts gathering up the shots that we still had and the beers, and he looks at me and goes, "Let's get a different table." I'm not joking. And we just went to a different table and continued drinking, and we'd watch other guys come in and think this prime table was available right from the stage and be like, "Hey, look at this guy." Because again, no busboy. No one's picking up the view. And the women are just dancing like, "What's this? Man, we're just sitting there like, oh my God." And that was...
That's funny stories, man. That's hilarious.
That was
Funny
Steve
stories
Sloan,
with Ocean, man. That's fucking funny, yo. How was the face again? How you did the throw a face?
He's just looking at it. He was like, "So I think I did." Never lost eye contact. That was the most amazing part, is he never broke eye contact.
Never broke eye contact.
And then I do remember this. It would go like this. Whap. Like just...
So it is like he just had been doing this for years.
Like that's just what happens.
It's just what happens.
Let's get another table. Someone wrecked this one. And we went to another table, and it was just so funny. So many guys tried to sit at that table.
Because there was no busser.
No busser.
All right. So tell everybody where they can find you at on social media.
On the socials, just look up Greg Romero Wilson. Okay. Obviously, the Romero's there because there's a lot of Greg Wilsons,
right?
Yeah.
And did you used to have the Greg Wilson?
It was the Greg Wilson. And in fact, my Twitter handle is still the Greg Wilson. Okay. Because Greg Romero Wilson is one character too long.
Right.
And so it's Greg Romero Wilso. And I'm like, I'll just stick with the Greg Wilson.
Okay. And then if they want
everything else is Greg Romero Wilson. IG is the main one, at Greg Romero Wilson.
If they want to take your comedy class,
go to thecomedyinstitute.com.
The Comedy
Institute. We just started another sold-out 5-week session. It's always exciting. I love coaching. When I used to always, we talk about job all the time. We're always trying these things. And when I started teaching, I think it was about 2008 is when I first started putting a little workshop together. It grew into a much larger thing, but I mean, at that point, I really was doing it for the extra money.
Right.
And now I just do it because I love it.
That's what you love.
You know, it generates on its own, and it's just kind of really taken on a life of its own. I've worked with so many great comics and seen a lot of them turn into really big stars.
And I think your best one was our boy. It's just BM. I'm just gonna say his initials are.
Yeah,
right?
I worked with him for years.
For years,
Yeah.
and I remember seeing him, and I was like, man, Greg did some fucking magic with you, homie. Magic with you.
You know, but he put in the work too.
He put in the work.
And I got to give him all the credit in the world for that. You know, because at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of ugly ducklings turn into swans.
That's what's up.
Because they put in the work. And I've seen a lot of looked like they would have what it took, and they just didn't have the stick-to-itiveness to last to then make it to the next levels.
That's right.
And so, you know, but I love doing it with all my heart. It's so much fun.
That's what's up. Chrissy, where can they find you at?
You can find me on OnlyFans. No.
The wife goes to sleep at 9:30.
Tom, where they can find you at? Well, Chrissy Go Bang is Chrissy.
Chrissy Go Bang.
Yeah.
That's where you'll find me.
They can find me on OnlyFans.
They can find you at OnlyFans for sure.
Listen, right now in this room, I wish we had some OnlyFans.
Right.
Keeping me cool.
Right. I got it now.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm slow today. I think because I had no alcohol.
It's my fault for doing a pun.
No, I got my tooth removed, so I'm like, I can't
in the
drink
words
any
of Jay
alcohol.
Hollingsworth, fucking yuck.
Yuck. I'm always, you can find me on Instagram, Ocean Live, or you can see us on YouTube, or you can go to Apple Podcasts and Funny Stories with Ocean. We've been moving up in this comedy networking of podcasts, so we appreciate.
Great.
It's been going.
Listen,
really well.
you put a lot of work into this. I gotta respect that. I mean, when I think I was on like episode 4.
Yeah.
And he was just doing his okay. And at this point, podcasts weren't like new. Like everyone had equipment and shit.
Yeah.
And I go over to this place. And I'm like, so where are we gonna record the podcast? And he points his phone and goes, "We are."
Right, it was just like that. But we had the best fucking conversation. We probably went like 2 hours on a conversation.
We did. We talked,
right? We talked a long ass time.
A lot of funny stories.
About the
first times when we
you can find
ourselves.
that. You can find that because this is your second one, but this is now in the studio and stuff.
Yeah.
But we have the other one, so go and check that out too. But we appreciate you guys always being here and watching us and tuning in. Until next time, peace.